And so I know sometimes people believe that elected officials don't hear you or don't hear our constituents, but it's not true. Finally, some of the things that all of you have been saying to us for decades is now finally going to happen. That you will have more resources and some of those things that those students need before you get to it. You spend more time with these children than their parents do. But no one should be asking you to do more than what you're supposed to do. And hopefully now we'll get to a position where you'll have those resources. The students will be prepared when they come into the classroom.
You can ask.
And when you leave, they leave your classroom to now become better people and what we wanted them all to be in the future. So, and I do want to give a big shout out to Mike and also to Karen, the two leaders of the unions. We try to communicate. Yes, you should give them both a big round of applause. And their teams, by the way, and their teams. Because even when we were faced in that situation, we were trying to communicate and trying to do the best that we could, and they both absolutely spoke for all of you to make sure that we try to do the right thing by teachers and our students here in the state of New York. So again, I want to thank you for doing something that I don't know if I can do. Trying to spend time with young people for many hours a day is something that all of you should be commended. And so thank you for taking care of all of our children in the city, and for those of you that are here representing NYSEN for the rest of the state of New York. So thank you, and God bless you.
So you just heard Speaker Hasty talk about community learning schools. And we have always said that our children face so many challenges. We're there trying to help them overcome those challenges, but we do believe that our society should be in the schools helping us. And when we started our campaign 5 years ago on the thing known as community learning schools, we did not know at that point that the mayor of New York City would be saying we need the community learning schools, that the governor of New York would be saying we need community learning schools, and that the President of the United States would be saying we need community learning schools. But there was one person who was there from the very beginning for us, who said this is so important, we need to do this. This is what I know that the children in my district will need to overcome some of the obstacles in their life. And he has been there from day one, supporting our work in the community and learning schools and supporting so much more of the work in education. But he has been the first friend of our program on community learning schools. I bring to you the leader of the Independent Democratic Caucus, Senator Jeff Klein.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to say a very special thank you to Karen, the president of NYSEN. Let's give a big hand, everyone. My good friend, Andy Collada, everyone. Let's give him a hand. And of course, what can you say about the leader of everyone here today, Michael Mulgrew? Let's give him a big round of applause, everyone. Michael is one of the few labor leaders that understands, because of his position, has two roles. He's going to fight each and every day on behalf of the teachers. That's his job. But he also realizes he has a greater calling. He has a calling to influence the education policy of not only the city of New York, but the state of New York, and he does that every day, and he benefits our young people every day because of that. Let's give another hand for Michael Mulgrew, everyone. I was here last year and the year before that, and certainly I want to tell you something. There's a big difference in a year, and that's a good thing, because I think finally we're all on the same page, that we have to enhance the job that teachers do. We have to thank you for the job that you do, because each and every day you're making a difference in the lives of our young people, and that's important to each and every one of us. So thank you. This year, instead of concentrating on evaluating and testing, we're in the IDC is sort of getting back to basics. We put forth a plan which we're calling the 50-hour learning week. We're recognizing a very simple truth. that we need to continue to give our public education the best we have to offer. Making sure to give our teachers the tools that they need to actually teach our young people. We're also recognizing that education doesn't end when you leave the four walls of a classroom. We're also recognizing that education doesn't end at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're putting forth a robust proposal. First and foremost, we want to enhance community schools, something that I personally have a great stake in. That's something that is very, very important. We all know the governor this year in his budget proposed $100 million for community schools that are troubled schools. That's all well and good. But I want to enhance that. So we're calling for an extra $50 million and the same each and every year to make sure every school in the city of New York is a community school.
No, I don't know about that.
You know, sometimes it means getting back to basics. And I know Michael invited me 4 years ago to see the community school experiment in Cincinnati. Well, you know something? I didn't go to Cincinnati. But now I'm proud to say that me and Michael have 2 of these community schools all over the city of New York. It's no longer an experiment. It works. It's the way we're going to make sure our young people get a great public education, and we need to enhance the program. The other thing we want to do is we sometimes forget that learning, as I said, shouldn't end at 3 o'clock. This year, the IDC's budget proposal is putting forth $500 million to make sure every school in the state of New York has an after-school program. Right now, there's 1.2 million young people that are without after-school programs, and you know something? They can benefit from learning after school, help with their homework, scholastic excellence. That's what we need to do, ensure that education doesn't end just at 3 o'clock. Last but not least, today I put out a proposal, again on behalf of the Independent Democratic Conference, dealing with an issue that I think everyone here knows about in the city of New York. It's specialized high schools. You know, over the years we have enhanced the number of specialized high schools. We want to show that these high schools, which are public schools, are the best they can be. We want to make sure that all of our young people have the ability to get into a specialized program. But you want to know something? We're not doing our job. Right now, 70% of the young people in our public school system are African American and Latino. Yet only 10% are getting into specialized high schools. That's a problem that needs to change. So we really put forth a very strategic approach. You know, if we give these people the opportunity, and these young people of everyone else, to first of all know that these specialized high schools exist, know that there's a test to be taken to get into these schools, and actually give them test prep to help do well on these exams, that's how we're going to increase the number of African American and Latino young people that are in our schools. So we have a very simple approach. By merely spending $3 million, we're going to add 40 educators in the city of New York that will concentrate their efforts on making sure that young people know about these exams, the exams are in their communities, and test prep in every school district in the city of New York, done by public school teachers. That's how we're going to make sure that young people can get into specialized high schools. So I just want to say thank you, because I know you come up here each and every year, but it means a world of difference. You know, we can hear, you know, from all the talking heads who claim to know what it means to educate our young people. We can listen to all the other people who say they know best when it comes to education. But the people sitting before me today, you're the ones on the front line, you're the ones that are doing the job, and I thank you for that. And what you say means a hell of a lot to me. Thank you all very, very much.
Okay, so we're going to keep moving quickly here, because I know there are different appointments at different times. But first, I'm going to introduce this side of the dais now, and then bring up our next speaker. And hopefully, do you remember all your students' names in class? I never did. Some of my students, and I see them in the street, and they're like, Mr. Mogul, it's David, but you used to call me A. So here I go. First, all the way to my left, the wonderful, man who connects so many people together in the city of New York, and my good friend, Mr. Anthony Harmon. Anthony! We have the Vice President. Vice President, I'm just gonna call them all Vice Presidents. You figure out who they are, because we're gonna call them like, who has just gotten through 2 really tough negotiations on behalf of nurses that we represent, but represent so many people who work outside of our school system, a fierce advocate, Miss Ann Goldman. The big man. The big man. We had fun in Washington last week, and today we heard that they are now calling for the reauthorization of Perkins, which is everything that deals with career and tech education. The big man is the Vice President Sterling Roberson. Watch out for the next one. If you got an ELL issue and your principal doesn't know what to do, hell hath no fury like this next Vice President. The wonderful, the talented, the person who just constantly makes sure that the Department of Ed knows that they're never doing enough. Vice President, Ms. Evelyn De Jesus. What do we say about the next person? You had time to shave this week. I haven't gotten there yet. Takes over what I consider, who here is a middle school teacher? God bless you. God bless you. He has taken over and he has done a tremendous job making sure that people understand why it is so important and vital, and the intricacies of dealing with students who have raging hormones is the nicest way to say it. He is fierce. He is always there. The wonderful Vice President, Mr. Richard Mantell. High schools are an interesting place, are they not?
What am I bread? Where's
Who
your
here is a
bread?
high school teacher?
Oh, what am I?
Really? Really, folks? Non-stop, Energizer Bunny, never stops, always out there in the schools, pushing the DOE, making sure that people understand that what we're doing with our huge experiment known as the New York City public school system means that high school is that last piece, that bridge to graduation. Fierce advocate, Vice President, Ms. Janella Hines. What can I say about the next man? He is not just the assistant secretary. He is not just a staff director. He watches over so many things inside of our union. He makes sure that the trains keep running and are on time. And he does it in his very unique and forceful way. And when there's an issue in the school, the one who loves to go there first and foremost is Mr. Leroy Barr. And every time there's a single problem, we're a large union, as you all know. The person who always makes sure we know that everybody's issue is always important at all times, who goes out of his way to do amazing things. He is our conscience and our soul, the Secretary of the United Federation of Teachers, Mr. Emil Pietramanico. He always thanks me because he says I'm the only one who can pronounce his name correctly. Elementary school, where are you? God bless you too. Look, she does it all, project after project. Community learning schools all across New York City, advocating for us at the state level, at the national level, showing people, come to New York and see what we do. See what we do. Vice President Karen Alford. Okay, now I'm going to bring up our next speaker and then we'll do this stuff. It's very important, and we know this better than everyone. You should listen to the women, correct? Yes! Let's just make this simple. If it was just us men making the decisions,
Not to get done.
we wouldn't be so good. Okay? Her work on leading the Senate Democratic Conference under very difficult, trying times has been phenomenal. She has always communicated with us. She understands what we do. She is in constant contact with us at all times. She's been phenomenal in her ability to understand the intricacies of education policy. And it is my pleasure to introduce a very good friend of the teachers of New York City, the senator from the Yonkers and the leader of the Senate Democratic Conference, Ms. Andrea Stewart-Cousins.
Thank you, Michael. We have really developed a great relationship. When I first became leader, he was like, what are you going to do with her? You know how that goes.
What?
Well, we had a long talk. And one of the things that I appreciated is that, and I'm just ripping off of what you said, got to listen to the women. Right? I see it like that. And one of the things he did, he didn't decide that we weren't going to have conversation. He decided right away that we were. And we sat down for what we thought would be about a half an hour meeting. And it was almost a couple of hours that we just talked about our aspirations and our goals and how we loved the policy. We loved creating the way that you who are professionals can actually do your job. We wanted to get past the politics so that we could get it right for our kids, so that we could allow you to tell us what it is you need, and for us to make sure that the funding is there, that the resources are there, that the buildings look good, that you're not demonized, that you are actually rewarded and exalted because of the hard work that you do, that you have the kinds of community embrace that you need to do, that you have the support of your administrators, all those things, because somebody like me needed somebody like you when I was growing up in New York City in public housing, all right? Somebody like me understood when I so-called had options that I wanted to put my kids in public schools because done right, the rewards for the child, the parent, the teacher are incredible. And someone